Okay, so it is Monday, April 21st. It's 6:32 p.m. This is a regular meeting of the Montgomery Selectboard. Just as a quick tech heads up for anyone online. So Larry, just so you know, we're having some audio issues again tonight. So if at any point you can't hear us or something, just ask for something to be repeated, but we'll try to project and make it so you can hear stuff. All right. So the first order of business is to review and make any changes to the agenda, any additions or deletions. I've got one deletion. Tim Smith, who is the Executive Director of the Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation, emailed with his apologies. He can't make it tonight, so he will come to our next meeting, so the first meeting in May. Any other additions or deletions to the agenda? Nope. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the minutes approval. So we're looking for a motion to approve the minutes of April 7th as written.
I'll make that motion.
Great, we have a motion from Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Dan.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye, raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, motion carries. So next up is Public Works and some updates. Sorry, I'm just trying to make a quick note. Awesome. Is that your stomach?
That was me.
You didn't eat dinner, did you?
Yeah, I did. I ate quick.
Oh.
Well, good thing the mics aren't working, right?
They are for me, I think.
For your, it'll be on the recording.
Yeah.
All right. So next up is Public Works. First item is municipal wastewater project. Only updates there as far as things going on are the easement paperwork that was mailed, so landowners have that now. We have been fielding a number of questions and things from folks that we're dealing with as they come in with the engineers and legal. Nothing crazy or outrageous. Most of it's kind of like, hey, can that pipe go a little bit this way instead of that way kind of stuff. So we're working through all of that with that team. So that's kind of project work update. More kind of global update on the state of things. So as folks remember, the USDA Rural Development is one of the kind of foundational funders of this project. So as we've said before, it's our understanding the money is there, it hasn't gone anywhere, it's still going to be accessible. Nothing's changed there, but we did get emails from the two main staff people we're working with on the project, both of whom left last week. They took the
Early retirement?
whatever option was in front of them, and
It's from USDA.
yeah, and so I did a little bit more digging, and from my understanding is that the USDA Rural Development staff for New Hampshire and Vermont, which is the unit we're in, is going from about 54 individuals down to I think
27.
12.
Oh, it was 27.
And to our understanding, none of the 12 are engineers, and one of the things is an engineer on staff to sign off on stuff. So I think the engineering work is being farmed out to someone in the Midwest.
Which nothing to know our area at all.
No. So nothing's changed with the funding and stuff, it's just the personnel changes. So I did get the contact info for our new point person, and I spoke briefly by email to her, but just as a interesting point of how things that happen in the world or nationally show up on our doorstep, that's, one of the things that's happening is those main staff folks have left.
And were those staffers the folks that we corresponded with the most? Were there
Yeah.
points of contact?
Yeah.
Nice.
So the head of RD for Vermont and New Hampshire is still there, and she still is in contact. And like I said, we have a name of somebody who is supposed to be replacing the lead guy we've been working with. So we'll continue to move forward, but just as a point of information, like a lot of federal things, staffing shakeups are happening. Lastly, there is one item that I wanted to talk to the board about and hopefully get approval for, which should be relatively easy, and that has to do with recording fees. So as we get back the easements and everything from the folks, we record them in the land records. We, the town, as being the person who is having the rights transferred to, would pay the recording fee. Essentially, we would pay ourselves to record everything. In order to not do that and make it clean from a process standpoint, what I was hoping the board would entertain is the notion of waiving the recording fees for the town for anything related to this project.
Which makes sense.
Technically, we could, for each one, cut a check and transfer it on paper with Aaron, but if we just make a blanket waiver of fees for the recording of easements related to the project, it would limit Aaron's paperwork and having to keep track of stuff like that. So I would entertain a motion to authorize the waiving of all recording fees associated with the easements pertaining to the municipal wastewater project.
I make a motion to waive all fees associated with the recording of the easements for the wastewater project.
Great, thanks, Dan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Mark. Any other discussion?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
The water too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to
It's
say
pretty standard.
Yeah.
All right, hearing no discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thanks. Streetscape project, this is carried over meeting to meeting. There's no update there. We're still waiting to kind of get all our T's crossed and I's dotted with the state so that we can get the final plan set approved. I am going to be meeting with Bethany tomorrow to do a little bit more digging on funding opportunities for kind of bringing the construction phase into fruition should we get there. So stay tuned on that. But other than that, there's no updates there. Mark, any general public works updates?
Yeah, I mean, they're working on grading. I mean, it rains every day, so. as soon
They
as
did grading work today.
He went up 58 today. Yeah. Yeah, what's that?
Grange Hall, parking lot,
Oh, parking lot, yeah,
if they get a chance.
yeah, when they get a chance, they'll get that done. Yeah, and then I think they got most of the sweeping done.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I noticed that.
yeah, so, hopefully by the end of the week, they'll have everything graded once, and then we'll go. Keep going.
Bit of procedure, we're recording this right now, but in the absence of a secretary, how are the notes gonna be transcribed?
I'm taking some rough notes and then.
I
Mark was just saying that they're out grading. They did Reagan Road and 58 today. The sweeping is all done, and they're targeting the first round of grading to be complete by the end of the week if the weather cooperates.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, Larry. Yeah, I'm taking some notes, and then I can go through the recording tomorrow and just catch anything that we don't miss. But okay, good catch. I didn't realize that until I said to you both, yeah, Suzanne's not out of town, and I looked over and thought, oh, well, Suzanne's not going to be here to take the minutes, but it's recorded, and I'll take some quick minutes here, and I can fill it in tomorrow. So,
Great, thank you.
anything else on Public Works for updates?
No.
All right. So that brings us on the agenda to visitors. So if you want, we can pause and do visitors now if there's no objection.
No.
All right. So we go in the order folks came. Tosca, you're here for the estimates?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so there should be two estimates in front of you. These are for the metal railing work on the front of the Grange and some miscellaneous repairs to the interior of the building. Tosca, do you want to just briefly explain your process? And
Yeah, so the front railing, marked metal, got that bid, his came in at 8,000, he's requesting his deposit here tonight. He apologizes for the crappiness of, it's the first page, but in his bid, he does specify that he needs a deposit. He's enclosed a drawing, Abe and I met with him. He's using some of the detail on the top of the building, those little wooden cutouts to make that detail. And the center railing, the committee, Abe and I, we talked about whether it butts right up against the building or starts away from the building, and I think we've all agreed that it'll go to the top stair, so you still have that open space at the top.
Oh, okay.
Which we don't wanna get too crowded in the middle because of snow removal and just people moving and not having to go up and down that building has never really had an exit and an entrance sort of leading, so we wanna keep that top step open. So the rail, that middle railing, and it'll be to code, and he's just working out now maybe a detail that'll incorporate that arch that's on the top and that center rail, but that'll be essentially open. So it's not gonna have a lot of rails on the stairs again for snow removal.
Yep.
And trying to just keep it clean and sort of that federal style, Greek revival, whatever.
Yeah.
Are they replacing the whole staircase?
No, and so the cement work, that'll be the trickiest part is how he mounts it, so he's either gonna try to drill out what's there and check integrity, and then he might do a strapping around it, so that, so there's a couple of different ways that he can install it, but he'll have to do some concrete repair, which he'll do,
Yeah.
but we don't wanna mess with the integrity of that structure, so he's trying to, he'll come up with an engineered way to connect them. But he is working with Abe and the group just as he goes along, but we all kinda like those side rails with that little cutout.
Yeah.
Cause it does kinda match that trim that's up top.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at the trim on that building, it's that little castle
Yeah.
kinda. And it makes it a little more interesting, and it will also be a lot bulkier than the current railings, which are really tiny. I think they're half-inch stock, it's not even, so he's gonna use bigger. It'll be more substantial.
How many bids did we get for the railing?
2.
2. And who's the other one?
Steve Hathaway,
Yeah, and
and
that
he came
is,
in at 9,600.
yeah, this is the other bid if you wanna check that out.
And just as full disclosure, Calvin is my son.
Okay.
His bid came in first,
Okay.
and then I asked Steve for his. I didn't solicit Steve's bid until after Calvin submitted his, and I did not vote on this. I recused myself from the vote.
It's a
So.
small town, we get it.
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah.
No, appreciate you.
it
being-
definitely
being
affects
cognizant.
my household income because Calvin needs to pay his rent. But again,
Yeah,
he's also, and again, Calvin is a new company up here. He has a lot of years of experience and he's trained with some of the best, my dad, so I can't, and he's gonna this is the centerpiece project for him, so
Yeah.
he's gonna put a little extra into it and not charge us. He bid it the way he bid it, knowing that he, might be cutting it close with the tariffs, and I gave both him and Steve the opportunity to raise their bids because of the tariffs, and they both declined.
Yeah.
So regardless, he wants to do a really good job, and I know he will, so.
Good.
But, and he'll work with us, and,
Yeah.
make changes, but again.
Yeah.
And then the other work is even actually, in terms of importance, Happy Bearded Carpenter is more important as soon as possible, which is why we only got one bid, because they're the only ones that could do it soon. Those 2 back staircases are both unsafe at this point
Yeah.
for humans to be on.
Yeah.
So that's repairing those, doing some glass work to fix some glass in the building. We have 5 panes that are broken, and Dave happens to be a glazier, so that is also why we went with them, because he
Okay.
has the skills to do that work, which
Yep.
is not easy to find. And our long-term goal, we wanna get those windows done because we just got a bid on putting in insulating shades inside. We were talking about getting double pane plexiglass to insulate the windows in the winter, but I just got a bid from Gordon's Windows. And we're talking about putting shades installed that will come down summertime. It'll make it cooler, block that sun glare that comes in. And those shades could be drawn in the wintertime and will keep a lot of heat in, so.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
price tag, but we're willing to fundraise for that.
Yeah,
This
that's
Came
great.
in at 6,400,
Yeah.
but I think we can raise the money or get a grant to do that, but
Yeah,
that could solve a lot of our cold, drafty problems, and just in the summertime, it'll keep it cooler
Yeah.
too. We can.
And I was on Dave's thing, there's painting's excluded, but there is some drywall repair, so.
There's some holes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just saying that the holes will be patched and you might have patches that need painting later on.
We
He's
need
not
to
doing that?
paint, yeah, he's not gonna paint, we
Okay.
need the whole interior
Whole
painted,
interior,
so
Okay.
Yeah.
we have got a bid on that, but we're trying to go for
Okay.
a grant for
Okay.
that.
Yeah, I think the main thing with these is that the quotes we have today relate to essentially ADA compliance and safety.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And while he's there, replacing some drywall just makes sense while he's in the building.
yeah,
But these are the ones that I think,
Yeah.
are time sensitive, and also, as we've said before, budget wise, who pays for what? I mean, we can decide, but these seem appropriate for the building capital improvement fund as they are. They're not extras that are being kind of looked at, like the shades, for example, I
The
would say,
shades are, yeah,
but these are something that, it's needed and lack of attention over a number of years.
yeah.
Beard and Carpenter are really good people.
Yeah.
Really good work.
Yeah, and again, I appreciate you taking it out of the capital improvement, cause
Yeah.
we're all down for fundraising for the shades, that's not even
Yep.
that's an optional, and the painting, I'm going after a grant and we'll see. And
Yep.
the elevator has been repaired, the internet has been repaired, and speaking to Charlie earlier, I would like to call in another elevator company to get a second opinion, because the company we've been using for years also sells elevators. We just spent $3,500 fixing it,
Yeah.
and his remark to me was, well, it's only gonna work for a year, and it's like, why? And he will not answer me. And I've asked him, have you done anything to maintain the rusty screw? Like, if that's what's running this thing, why aren't you taking the panel off? I've never seen him take the panel off.
Yeah.
He was there for 45 minutes and replaced 2 switch plates for the locks. And the elevator works fine, but I feel like we need a second opinion,
Yeah.
because I feel like, again, he's the pressure to replace this for 60 grand. Why, if it's still running in a year, like he literally said, well, in a year it's not gonna work. And it's like,
If it's still working, why replace
right,
it?
Yeah.
are you saying that it's gonna break in a year, or what are
It's
you
like
saying?
mechanics. bad
But again,
mechanics.
I was gonna call another company if that's all right.
No, that's fine.
And get
Yeah.
a second. I just want somebody to look at it and tell me that that's true or not true.
Yeah.
Just cause she's old,
Yeah.
Charlie said, how many years? Empire State Building,
Yeah.
1932 elevators, still going.
Yeah.
So,
A little rickety, but.
2 last questions. On it says excluded is the deck frame repair due to rot and any rot repair that's found. Are we aware of any rot? Or it should be good, but understanding that underneath there may be some.
I think they're repairing, there's rot that's the railings
surf-
that they're
yeah, yeah.
replacing, but I think he means as they're taking,
On the joist maybe. Or,
choice, yeah, it looks, there's solid parts to both sets of stairs, so we didn't want him to have to replace them entirely. But, the treads on the left side, there's 4 that are smashed through, like literally
Yeah.
pressure treated, that has been smashed by ice, that's how heavy that ice load is.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can ask Lutz to get ice guards on his, because it's coming from his building and ours,
Yeah.
so it's this double
Mhm.
whammy. I've never seen a piece of wood shattered like that from ice, but
Yeah. Well, interesting to think about as far as.
Peter and Lynn's house was
Good.
shattered for that.
yeah. And we are gonna look
Both
into
sides.
ice guards
Okay.
next year for,
Yeah.
Great.
but again, alright, so,
Given it with the urgency, I'm good on both of these. Point for future. If there's other metalwork, I know that Justin Dennis has done some stuff. So
I've already asked him.
okay, gotcha.
He was, I approached and he said he was busy and nope.
Yep,
I'm
great.
good.
Yeah, just keep
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Calvin and there's only 3 metal guys, so,
Heard.
and Larry. I did not ask Larry back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He used to be my neighbor, I thought that might be too much. Like, everybody, but.
Yeah.
And
All right.
how bad is the tariffs gonna be? Because
Calvin's got locked in pricing for this, and they say
Well-
it's gonna be fine.
We will have something after this that we need to address because of the tariffs. Not by a lot, but.
Anyway,
Okay.
Anyway, so we have the 2 quotes in front of us. We can handle these as 2 separate points of business, or we could handle both quotes with the limiting numbers, whatever the pleasure is.
I motion to approve both quotes as a slate as presented by Tosca. One for the repair of the interior and some of the rotten railing and deck, and the second for the replacement of the front entrance railing to make ADA compliant.
Great. And just as a friendly amendment, do we want to keep the limiting numbers here, the 3,500 and the 5,750?
Yes.
Um,
Because the 3,500 is for the
3,500 is a
deposit.
deposit,
Deposit.
And
his
that's
total bid is
$8,000.
$8,000.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Total,
He's just, that's just a deposit request.
oh, I see,
Because-
8, okay, yep. So, it would be the motion to approve, the Mark II metal quote for 8,000 and Happy Bird Carpenter for 5,750.
To come out of the
Is there a way
building
to,
capital improvement fund.
Yep. Come out of the capital improvement fund, yeah.
is there a way to make sure that he gets that deposit check? And do we have to do a separate motion or will Aaron?
No, I'll just let Aaron know.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion by Dan, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great, thanks, Mark. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries and we have approved both
Is
quotes.
there a timeline that has to be done? I mean,
Calvin's gonna, yeah, I mean, as soon as possible. Both bids, Calvin's plan is to be done by the prom, for sure, that's what he wants. And I think as long as the materials are still there. And then Dave and Kari said they could start right off, so I'm hoping again by the prom. Cause
Okay.
that's the next big, huge sort of people drinking, and it's nice out, and they want, I'm gonna have, if those side exits aren't done, we can't have people on them.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Anything else, Tosca?
no, that's, well, real quick, Heartful Kitchen, the library, and Leaps would like to put in some raised vegetable beds out here by the blueberry bushes, if that's all right, for a summer program that we're all co-sponsoring together. We have grant money to pay, Heartful Kitchen got $1,300 to promote produce and working with the community to increase people's awareness.
I talked to, with my town library trustee hat on, I was talking to Marlene about it, and Marlene's super excited about the opportunity for the collaboration of all these different groups. The one thing we discussed was instead of the blueberry bushes, another option is around the side of the building, out of fear of any work being done. If it becomes a more permanent installation, maybe it gets in the way, maybe there's some issues there. Just it could be whatever we want. I ran it by Liz, and Liz says as long as the select board is fine with it, it seems like a good project. The town office appears to be fine with it as well. So
The only thing about the side of the building is that it's blocked. So the early morning sunshine.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I mean, these
If they were
guys,
far enough that way, they
I
probably
think
wouldn't be
better.
impacted by.
what do you, yeah, so they would be like not on the driveway side, they'd be sort of as far back as possible. I think we could cite them.
Yeah.
They can also always be moved.
Okay.
I don't think they're gonna be huge.
They're not permanent, that's right,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
we're looking to the Leafs kids, the same Iron Chef kids, like trying to keep the kids involved in growing their own food and then cooking with it, and we'll do projects and things like that. But we have about $600 to throw at it, so it'd be funded by.
just hire a lawyer
Grant
or a
funding.
logger and have the trees cut out there.
I guess she's got somebody to build them, but I'll be going to the next trustee meeting with Tiff, and we'll talk about what we can do. But
Okay,
it's just sort of citing them, I figure.
cool.
great.
But in the meantime, if you come up with any reason not to put them closer to there,
Alright, that sounds fine, and again, if it's a movable structure, so we can always get.
yeah.
Great.
Well, we're gonna get some chickens out there too, Charlie. And
Well,
a cow.
hey, everybody loves chickens.
No, we're not.
Although, I had a fox leave us a chicken at our house the other day, that was a little bit odd. So if anybody out there is missing a chicken, talk to my fox.
Honestly.
Great, so we'll go next up, Teresa, anything for visitors?
Actually, I have nothing today.
Okay.
I'm just coming to be a pain in the butt,
Hey.
that's all.
We love a good peanut gallery.
Appreciate the company.
Come out to the town supper on Sunday, cause it's take me out to the ball game. Speaking of peanuts
Oh, okay.
and Cracker Jacks.
All right, Larry, you're up for visitors. Just come off mute.
Good evening. I was taking a nap during the Tosca Smith show. V-Trans just received a federal grant to help repair and revoke and rehab covered bridges. They're gonna do the Lindenville Bridge, covered bridge first. Is that something we are should be applying for?
This is the first I've heard of it. I don't know if you've heard of it, Mark.
No.
Yeah, if you have info, by all means, email it over, whatever you got, and we can chase it down.
It was on the news this morning.
On the news. Okay,
Okay, I'll get ahold of you.
we'll look into it.
The other thing is this not, what is it?
No, we,
Not weed.
Knotweed?
yeah.
Yep.
Is the Conservation Commission taking any activity on this?
Yeah, they've got a project they're doing down at the old Jewett property, which they received grant funding for, and they're working with the Conservation District, I believe. I don't have all the details, but they are looking to do a knotweed control project down there.
Because it is getting out of hand. We have an individual, we have a state employee up on the, West Hill. It's, has a lot to do with invasive species. Is the state helping out at all with this?
I can ask the state employee that lives on Hill West Road.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Hill West Road.
Yeah, I believe the funding they're using is through, it may be, I don't know, Larry. I know they've got some money to help do it. I don't know if it's through the state or if it's federal dollars through the Conservation District, but I can find out if you're curious.
Spread up here with her.
Yeah, it's, I'm sure it's other back roads too where some fill has been drawn on the roads and it's beginning to show up on the Reagan Road and other places.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that we aren't addressing it aggressively enough. That's
Yeah.
all.
They did it in Waterville.
You
They
can
had a
eat
study
it,
in
Larry.
Waterville.
You go
Yeah,
I'm
there's a
sorry,
small
who's
area.
speaking?
Yeah.
It's edible.
Go ahead, Larry.
I know someone interrupted, I didn't hear what it was.
They were just commenting on a project in Waterville that was looking at knotweed control.
Thank you.
Thanks,
That's all I
Larry.
got.
All right, so, moving on to old business. So Larry, you had asked this question before and it's come up, a few other folks asked, the local option tax. So on town meeting day, the town voted affirmatively to change the local option tax to drop the sales portion. Following that, Aaron reached out to the state, notified the correct people that we had done that. Folks were seeing the sales tax still show up on things, whether it was from Amazon or Sylvester's, wherever. So we asked them again, and just this past week, Aaron was notified by the tax department that while we took action on March 4th to change this, we will not see a change until October 1st. The way the tax department runs the local option taxes is that they finish the quarter in which you are currently situated, and then they add one more quarter before the change comes into effect. So we have done everything on our end that we can do. It's the tax department that needs to flip the switch, and according to them, that will not happen until the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Well, isn't that just wonderful?
Yeah, so businesses in town will be getting notified about this, but folks should be aware that you're gonna still see that sales tax portion through the summer and early part of the fall. And again, we've done everything we can, it's just, that's how they operate.
I assume the town will be reimbursing?
You can talk to the tax department about reimbursing.
Thank
That
you.
might be in the Budget Adjustment Act, maybe.
Next item?
So that's what's going on with the local option tax and why folks might be seeing what they're seeing. Item B under old business is the hazard mitigation plan update. So there's no update tonight. The next meeting about that's gonna be prior to our next select board meeting, so we'll have an update in early May on that process, but that continues to move forward. If there's no question on the hazard mitigation plan update, item C here is the town hall committee building repairs. We've already worked on those. One thing that we do need to affirmatively do just as a board to make sure that we've fully authorized what we need to authorize. If folks remember last time, we authorized an expenditure of up to $3,000 to fix a part of the elevator that needed immediate attention. So shortly after that meeting, we got word from the contractor that when those tariffs took effect, the full cost was increased by about $560, just due to the materials. And it was moving in process essentially to happen, and so we authorized them to do the work with the board ratifying the change at tonight's meeting. So what I would ask is to we move to increase the authorization amount from $3,000 to $3,560 for the elevator repairs.
So nobody investigated.
Well, someone needs to make the motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second from Dan. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries. If there's nothing else on that, move on to item D. This is the appointment of the Communication Union District representative. So Doug Kopax has volunteered to serve in that role. So I thought I had that form over here.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
All right, thanks. Bye, Teresa.
Have a great weekend.
So Doug has volunteered. So we will open nominations for Northwest Communications Union District representative. Are there any nominations?
Nominate Doug Kopax.
We have a nomination for Doug. Is there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, we'll close nominations. All those in favor of Doug Kopax serving as the representative to the Northwest Communications Union District, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, you've elected Doug as your representative.
Congrats, Doug.
Next up is the renovation update for the Public Safety Building Town Office. So this came up last meeting. Dan and I sat down with Aaron and Liz to kind of get an update on where things stand with the project. And in brief summary, Northeast Structural Engineering is currently wrapping up design work on the vault. They had some information that they needed from Michael, who's the architect, as well as David Pratt, who's with Millbrook. Some of it just having to do with the structural, not integrity, but structural support for the vault, given the current construction of the floor. So there's some stuff like that they had to crosswalk on, but they are looking to have that work with Northeast Structural Engineering wrapped up soon, so that we can start to move forward with the installation of the vault. I think this has been mentioned before, but we did receive the Municipal Energy something program, MERP grant for a little over $297,000. Liz and Aaron are working with Marlena Valenta, who's our kind of point person there on the next steps. As a reminder, that's not reimbursement based, and there's no match required. So that's about $297 that's coming into the project free and clear. The voters already authorized $250,000 for the construction of the vault. So as we progress with the rest of the design, we'll reconsider the rest of the project budget and all of that. But for now, the next step is finishing up the work with Brian at Northeast Structural Engineering to get the vault design done and then move on installation there. That's really important because the positioning of the vault is gonna have a major impact on the rest of the design, because if the vault can't go quite where we want it to due to some structural issues, it's gonna kind of change the rest of the design. So the rest of the design is really hinging on waiting for Brian to come back with the final vault design.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the update on renovations here. Any questions?
No, that makes sense.
All right. Next up is delinquent tax collector. So this was another question that came up at a prior meeting, was kind of where things stand with delinquent taxes. So folks remember the total delinquent taxes that were reported as of December 31st of 2024 was a little over $205,000. The collector of delinquent taxes between January 1st and April 14th has collected about $69,000 of that. So as of 4/14/25, we have about $142,000 in still outstanding payments. Of the 12 parcels that are 2 or more years delinquent, 6 of them are now on payment plans. 3 have either made partial payments or are working to establish payment plans. 3 of them have made no contact, and the collector of delinquent taxes is working with attorney Mike Gahn to start a tax sale process. So it looks like we'll have 3 properties potentially moving to tax sale. The remainder of the properties on there are only 1 year delinquent, and about 50% of those have made partial or monthly payments.
Yeah.
So things are moving forward with the collection of delinquent taxes. But as a kind of a marker, we probably will see a tax sale sometime in the not too distant future on 3 of those properties.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? All right, hearing none. That brings us to new business. First item here is liquor and tobacco licenses. We have a first and third class license for Thompson Hines DBA The Belfry. So is there a motion to approve the first and third class liquor license for The Belfry?
I motion to approve the first and third class license for the Belfry.
Great, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries and you've approved the first and third class licenses for The Belfry. Next up, we've got 4 fleet permits. Mark's got them right now in front of him. These are for Sun Common, Valancourt Transport, Godex Excavating, and Endless Tracks. We'll give Mark a second to check them out.
While Mark is reviewing those, I just will bid you good night. There's a good hockey game headed on.
All right, thanks, Larry.
Enjoy, Larry.
Take care.
So I'll make a motion to approve the fleet permits for Sun Common, Valancourt Transport, Godex Excavating, and Endless Tracks.
Great, we've got a motion from Mark to approve the slate presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dan. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, and you've approved the slate. That brings us through our agenda for the evening. Is there any other business to be done tonight before the board? Not hearing any, the motion to adjourn would be in order. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Great, thanks, Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded from Dan. Great. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, and we stand in adjournment at 7:11 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you.